Hi, welcome back. It's good to see you again. I know that returning to something vulnerable takes courage, but courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. And by being here, you've already made that choice. Last time, we created a foundation, a safe space where you could begin to explore your emotions without judgment. We talked about abandonment, how it manifests, and the way it lingers in our lives. Before we ended, I asked you to reflect on a question. What's the first memory that comes to mind when you think of abandonment? If you were able to recall something, that's good. And if you weren't, that's okay too. Sometimes these memories stay just beneath the surface until we're ready to face them. Today, we're going to take another step together, gently, at your own pace, to uncover where these fears may have started. Have you ever noticed how certain emotions feel heavier than others? How some moments from our past cling to us, shaping how we see the world, how we interact with people, and even how we see ourselves. That's because our earliest experiences of loss, whether real or perceived, don't just fade with time. They become part of our subconscious blueprint. They form patterns that repeat, even when we don't realize it. And today, we're going to start recognizing those patterns. Because once we see them clearly, we can begin the process of changing them. Let's begin with a grounding exercise. Find a comfortable position. If you'd like, close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And exhale. Letting all tension leave your body. Now, I want you to imagine a hallway in front of you. This hallway is lined with doors. Each door holds a memory, some recent, some long forgotten. Some doors are locked, others slightly open, revealing glimpses of what's inside. As you walk down this hallway, one door catches your attention. You don't have to know why, it just does. As you reach out and place your hand on the doorknob, a memory begins to form. What do you see? Where are you? Is it a childhood home? A schoolyard? A place you haven't thought about in years? Is there anyone else there? Or are you alone? What emotions come up as you observe this moment? Now, I want you to focus not just on what happened in this memory, but how it made you feel. Were you confused? Did you feel invisible? Did you tell yourself a story in that moment? One that might still be playing in your mind today? Because that's what we do, isn't it? When we experience something painful, we try to make sense of it. But when we're young, we don't always have the full picture. So we create explanations that feel true in that moment. Maybe you told yourself, I wasn't enough for them to stay. Or, if I had been better, they wouldn't have left. And the hardest part, sometimes we don't realize we're still carrying those beliefs in our present lives. But what if those beliefs were never true to begin with? Now, I want you to imagine standing beside the version of yourself in that memory. Whether you see yourself as a child, a teenager, or even a young version of who you are today, just picture them there, frozen in time, experiencing that moment. If you could say something to them now, knowing what you know today, what would you say? Would you tell them they weren't enough? That they were to blame? Or would you tell them the truth? That their worth was never tied to someone else's ability to stay? Because here's what I want you to consider. That version of you is still waiting to hear those words. And you are the only one who can give them what they've been needing all this time. Now, let's bring this back to the present. Think about your daily life. Are there moments when you feel this same ache? When an emotion rises up that feels much bigger than the situation itself? Maybe it's when someone doesn't text back right away, or when a friend cancels plans, or when you feel like someone is pulling away, even in the smallest ways. That reaction, it's not about the present. It's the echo of an old wound calling out for attention. But now you have a choice. You can respond differently. And next time we meet, we'll start practicing how. Before we end today, I want to leave you with one final question. What if abandonment wasn't something happening to you, but something you had the power to heal from? In our next session, we'll begin shifting those automatic responses so that when fear rises, you won't just react, you'll be able to choose. Until next time, please take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.